Coach Dan Monson of the Long Beach State 49ers joins Marching to Madness. 49ers are looking for the restart here as they haven't played since December the 14th. Coach, I saw that game. You lost 73-62 to USC, but it was really one run in there that separated you.
Yeah, we were. I think it was tied at half. Actually, they hit a buzzer beater to tie it at half, so we were up a little bit, and then they came out and just the start of the second half, they went on a 16-2 run, and the time we got through that, we down 14. We're down 14. We battled back to 6 or 8 a few times, but that run to start the second half was, and give USC credit that they came out and played well. That kind of set a tone as to that second half.
Yeah. Well, obviously, your opener was canceled with the Omicron variant doing what it does. I'm curious, is there a sense out in the Big West of here we go again?
Yeah, I know for sure it is with our players. I mean, every time you tell them, it's one of the hardest conversations you can have because, at their age, they feel invincible and they feel like, they're done everything they need to be healthy to play. And then, to be honest with you, I guess it's just the human nature of selfishness. But,
right.
We the first 2 times that were canceled, it was on us. And it's a lot easier when it's one of your teammates than when it's another team that's canceling and you don't know them, so it's not as personalized. But we've had 5 straight games now canceled. We ran into a little what do they call it? When we have 3 or more people, that's an outbreak
on our team.
They in LA County, they consider 3 people an outbreak. So we were considered an outbreak after the USC game. So we had to cancel La Sierra and San Diego, and then we came back to start league, and we tried to reschedule another D2 team, and it got canceled. And then our first 2 league games, we were already at the arena on Saturday at Bakersfield when their 3rd test came positive about an hour before the game on Saturday. So those are really tough. Last year, we were on a bus at UCLA when we found out. So those are the ones that are really hard when the kids have had shoot around, they've prepared, they've had their pregame meal, they got their uniform on, and then, by the way, you can take that off now. That's hard for young men to understand.
How is the operation of the program now that you've been through it for a year? How is it alike but yet different?
Well, the one thing is, if you're double vaccinated, and somebody else gets it on the team, you're not, like when we had that outbreak, we weren't able to practice for 5 days, I think, but we were able to work out. And before, everybody had to quarantine. And now, we're 100% vaccinated, we're 100% booster and all that. So now we don't have to, the program can still move on and players can still get workouts. Last year, it was just so decimating for kids because they felt fine, they were fine, they never tested positive, and yet they still had to quarantine. And then it was 2 weeks. Now it's down to 10 days and even 5 now for those that are double vaccinated.
Yeah, and looking at your team, Joe Murray has grabbed my attention from the start as I've been, following things and reading box scores and whatnot. He had 28 against Idaho, 30 against UCLA. Talk about what makes him such an offensive threat.
Well, he's really aggressive and he's a really good scorer, and that's kind of a recipe for success, as far as scoring the basketball. He was a scorer at Texas, West Texas A&I. I butchered that Division II school that was very good, very good. They played for a national championship, and they did a great job with him. But he played off the ball. We're trying to give him the ball and play more point. So he's still adjusting to this and to the Division I level. But he definitely was a good player for them, and he's been a good player for us.
What's usually the biggest adjustment they have to make going from like D2 to D1?
I don't know that it's a huge adjustment. I think there's a lot of Division II teams that are every bit as good as any Division I team.
Sure.
But but I think there's more depth probably. There's more of them, more good players at our, Division I, and there's probably more size. The center 6'6" instead of like I think they had 3 guards that were all under 6 foot, played for a national championship. That would be hard to probably do at Division I.
Yeah. Collin Slater, he's your best 3-point shooter. He had 21 points in the last game, or the game before the USC game against Bethesda, which was a 102-69 win. Talk a little bit about his game and how it's supplemental maybe to like Joe's.
Yeah, he and Joel make a pretty formidable backcourt. I think against UCLA, they went for 30 and 28. Mm-hmm. So, against a top 10 team in the country. So they're good players, and he's like Joel. He's kind of a combo guard. He's not really a point, but he's he can play point, and they kind of play off each other a little bit and play together well. And but Joel is more of a pull up and get to the rim guy, where Collin's a very fluid 3-point shooter and shoots the ball from deep. And another transfer, he started his career at Tulane and has come here, and it's I believe his 6th year in college. So very experienced, and knows the Division I game very well.
Well, you got Jordan Roberts. This is his 5th full season too, and he's scoring, I think, more. Right, he's grasping his role more. So with that, and with his age, and with 7 newcomers, talk a little bit about his leadership and his sense of being right there.
Yeah, he's by far the only one that's been in a program the last 5 years, and I'm happy for him. He got his 5th year, because really it's probably only, if you add up his games, probably only 4 full years of being here. He's had some bad luck and some not season-ending injuries, but he had a high ankle sprain last year that probably cost him 6 weeks out of the year. He had a broken finger, I think, 1 year that cost him, a month. And so he's had some hard luck, but he's healthy right now and playing very well. And it's hard to coach experience, and we have some experienced guys. I mean, like I said, Collin Slater's in his 6th year. I think Drew Cobb is in his 6th year. I think even though it's only his 2nd year here, I think it might be the 6th year for Joe Hampton, the most famous of my players. I can't remember his name. Joe's last chance U player, and been around college basketball. Started at Penn State, and I get, because they call Joel Murray JoJo, so we got 2 Joes, and we got 2 AJs and an RJ, and for an old 60-year-old man like me, I'm bad enough with names and start with.
Is alphabet soup your favorite?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, is Joe Hampton now? Is he going to be back? Or?
He is back. Yes, he is back.
Good. I know it's a big factor for you. Jadon Jones is also a solid 3-point shooter there beside Slater. Yep.
Yeah. He can score in bunches. He's a streak shooter, and hopefully he gets on a good streak here heading into March. But he was all Big West player in our league tournament last year. Averaged a double-double in 2 games, and he's technically a freshman, I guess, coming back again. So we have some pieces. We're still, unfortunately, trying to put them together, and then not having played for a month has really put some doubt in. We're scheduled to play Fullerton tomorrow, who's playing very well, who won at Bakersfield on Saturday, and had a tie game with San Diego State the other day, with 5 minutes ago. So our league has got some good teams in it, and we're gonna have to play well to compete in it.
That it feels like Southern California basketball, in general. Like you start, of course, with USC and UCLA. They're 2 of the top 10 teams in the country, and in the Big West itself, is centrally located there. And then you go down to San Diego State, and San Diego's improved in the West Coast Conference. Are you seeing it kind of like that? I mean, I'm 2,000 miles away, so.
Well, I just think that this transfer portal rule has just changed the mid-major game. Everybody's got some fellas, I mean, the people are coming from high level schools that were sitting on a bench, and they're going to places that transfers wouldn't go before, because it wasn't good enough for them. But now they just want to play, and and so before in our league, Santa Barbara could get a good transfer, and we could get a good transfer because we're kind of LA based, and that kind of thing, and maybe and Irvine, they have some academic restrictions, but now, I mean, everybody. I mean, Riverside's got some great transfers that I don't think 5 years ago maybe they would have gotten. Fullerton has their best player. I say is remember, I'm a bad name guy, but I think it's Aniska. EJ
Anasicki. He was
there you go.
He was at Tennessee in
right
Rutgers.
At Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I don't think. I'm not sure Fullerton's ever got an SEC transfer before. So it's really not just even the playing field, but made these leagues. Like we were talking before we got on about playing down in Naples, and you look at Missouri State, and we played Missouri State, and then we played Murray State, and then we played Wright State. We were all state there for a week, and those days had some high level players, and they could play anywhere in the country.
Well, those three teams can actually win their conferences.
Yeah.
I mean, Missouri State's not far off the curve, like we were saying with Drake last night.
Yeah, they beat them, and and I know Murray State last I looked were 10 or 11-1, and like we said, Wright State went down to North Carolina State and were able to get a win. So, it's made, and I don't know if it's going to continue, because the portal has been so saturated the last 2 years, but it's made college basketball, even more parity than before. And yet I think the cream is always going to rise, and the Dukes and North Carolinas and Gonzagas of the world will once again prevail.
How do you feel about Gonzaga? Where you coached Mark Few now, they took a couple of losses, but they look like they're getting, back on track. They lost people. They lost some fellas.
Yeah, I think, I mean, what's wrong with Gonzaga? Because they lost to who? Alabama and they lost two top 20.
Duke.
Duke. They lost to Duke and Alabama, and the sky is falling in Spokane.
Yeah.
My family still lives there. And, so I think Mark's going to be okay. A former assistant, I taught him everything I know, but he's doing fine.
You guys defensively, what are you looking to work with there? I mean, I know you want to move that forward.
Yeah, we would like to get better, because we've been horrendous defensively, and it's been, something that these 5 games it'll be interesting to see if we play tomorrow, that if we've improved, because it's been pretty much our whole focus of practice. I feel like we have the athletes and stuff, but we just haven't had the commitment, and we've been torched pretty good, and we played good teams. So, but our numbers are not where they need to be to compete, to win this league, and to be competitive in it even. So, as we go in and start a new season, that's certainly something we're working to try to adjust and be better at.
Last thing, Coach, like you said, Cal State Fullerton tomorrow night at their place. EJ Anasicki, Vincent Lee go for a combined 41 points. That is 73-67 over the Bakersfield Roadrunners. Talk a little bit about your matchup with them, and just your overall impression of the Titans. I
think they're good. I think they're, again, there's so many mid-majors that are good, but they're certainly one of them. I think they have an opportunity to win our league. They've already 1-0 with a road win to start the league. And the difference between, and they went to the NCAA tournament 3 or 4 years ago. They had 2 great guards, Ahmad and Almond. Ahmad and Almond. See, I'm a Mr. Name guy here.
The Almond brothers.
Yeah, that's like 4 years ago. But those 2 kids really carried them to the NCAA tournament. But what's impressed me this year is Coach Taylor's got some inside presence. Those 2 kids, like you said, they could combine for 41 points on Saturday. They've always had good guards in that program. Clear back to Bobby Brown, who's I think still playing a lot. So but they never really had a lot of inside presence. And this team is very balanced. They got, I think almost 4 or 5 guys in double figures. Awishka is your, leading scorer, but then they got like 3 or 4 guys all with about 10 points. So it's going to be a big task for us, but we're ready to play somebody. You can only practice and get excited to play a game and not get to play it, so many times. And that's kind of what we've been at here in the last month.
Coach Don Monson here on Marching Madness. Coach, I always love it when you come on, and now we can see each other. How about that?
There we go. You sounded better looking than you are, though. I kind of liked it better than no. I'm kidding you.
One of my best friends said I had a face for radio, so I mean that follows right along.
That follows, doesn't it? No, it is great because we've talked so many times. I don't think we've ever met face to face, so it is fun to see you.
And that's terrible. If I'd have known about the tournament in Naples, I would have come down and watched some ball.
Well, we got spanked pretty good those first 2 days, so I'm glad you didn't. You wouldn't have had me back on. It would have embarrassed your podcast.
I don't think so, Coach. We always enjoy having you on. Your number's 720 now, I think.
Wow, that makes me feel special.
Yeah. All with the beach.
If you would have told me, I was your first podcast ever, that would mean something. But 720 just means so you got to give them some respect and say, hey, you're going to be my top podcast, that I've ever had, instead of your number 720. You got to. Your recruiting skills aren't very good, Ken.
I know. I've got to go to work on that.
There you go.
I got to get him back on that.
There
Coach, thanks a lot. I enjoyed it.
You got it. All right.
Good luck tomorrow. Yeah.